Hello and welcome to Fully Charged. I'm Jonny Smith. Out there is Sweden, in here is the Porsche Taycan, and I am driving the car on the road for the first time in finished form, and we're going to Denmark. This is the Porsche Taycan, the car that we did a video on, a world exclusive, showing its launch control. I'm going to step off the brake. First launch control, crikey, Mikey. Okay, 160, 70, wow, 90, 200, and there we go, 220 kilometers an hour. I've come off the throttle, but now we are driving the car on the road in its unsheathed, finished form. It is Porsche's first electric car, 4-seat, 4-door, around 100 grand, and it's got a turbo badge on it, but just don't ask about that. What you need to know is both the Turbo and the Turbo S got the same 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. 93.6 kilowatt hours is usable. They both have 625 PS in their standard form. Turbo S has a 761 PS overboost function, and this has a 680 PS overboost function. And the Turbo S has also got slightly different seats, I think an upgraded audio system, different inverter, 21-inch wheels as opposed to 20s like this one's got. And neither of them have got real turbos. Of course, that's a spec level. It's silly really, but it's Porsche's way of keeping it familiar with the rest of its family. But the Turbo that I'm driving now is a better value car really, £115,800 without the OLEV, any government grants. The other car, the Turbo S flagship, 138 grand, so significantly more. So if you buy the Turbo S, you get 257 miles of range. And if you buy this one, the Turbo, you get 279 miles, 280 miles WLTP. So slightly less performance, but still damn fast, 3.2 to 62, with slightly more range. And you can put it on range mode, on the driving mode, to be ultra efficient, and I think that decouples the front motor, so it's just one motor control, just to tickle a bit more efficiency out of it. And equally, if you want to go the other side of the coin, then you put it on Sport Plus with launch control and do your relentless launch controlling if you want to do that kind of thing. But this is what I wanted to explore with the Taycan, and this is what I couldn't show you before: its ability and the way it feels on normal roads, round corners. How comfortable is it? How does it steer? How does it brake? So yeah, the dash is really modern, but it does follow conventional shapes, conventional center console, that kind of thing. So it's not like BMW i3 Radical, and it's not Spartan on a level of a Tesla. Basically, you can mimic anything here and here on there for the passenger. You can either turn it off, so it just says Taycan, it looks like a piece of dashboard, or you can fiddle around with it. I have actually got a passenger in the seat, a magician called Mark, and that's why the weight of Mark in the seat is activating the passenger screen there. Tells you our ETA is going to be 6:45, how much distance we've got left, and where we're going to charge. So the passenger can play around with that screen. And I'm pretty sure the Honda E is going to have this as well, because that has almost a full width screen, and a couple of other cars, the Byton, is going to have something very similar, the Byton M-Byte. This is the new thing. Before it was just one tablet, now we've got multiple tablets. A little bit of cheeky Roxy music there. Got my nav there, got a bit of nav here, got my speeding kilometers here. This is my drivetrains telling me how much power is going to the rear wheels, how much is going to the front wheels. Then you've got this haptic display here, which is, I have to say, as far as touchscreens go, because I'm a bit wary of touchscreens when you're a driver and trying to concentrate, this one has more feel than most. I really do like it. This controls your climate, your heated seats, And also you can look at your state of battery and release the flaps for charging if you want to from in here. Got my drinks bottles here, got my center console down there with some charging bits and bobs. But really all I'm concerned about as the driver is this little floating display in the middle here, which does look very similar to the current 911, as I said before, the 992. And especially I've got these touch controls on the right here, so I press this for suspension. It's in sport if I wanted to be sport plus, extra stiff, extra responsive, or just normal. Then if I go into this display, if I press this right hand steering wheel button, can you see the orange circles illuminate? And whichever one they illuminate, I can then go into the thumb wheel and I can change this to trip mode, for example. And if you want to, you can change all of this. If I go to extended map, it all just becomes a map. There's a few different colours you can get the car in, obviously, and this is not one of my favourites, but you can see the 4 LEDs inside these lovely gecko eyes, I like to call them. This is like an eyelid. This is an active air vent. There's active air vents down here as well, and you can get this in carbon fibre if you want. Pronounced kind of wheel arch tops. There is a fruit under there, and to pop the bonnet I have to go into the touchscreen, which is a bit of a faff. The fruit is 81 litres of storage. This is the bag with the charging cables which lives in here. It's pretty deep actually. It's nearly the same as a 911. You've got your screen wash there, and these compartments here have your tyre compressor. There's your tyre compressor, your towing eye, emergency triangle, all that stuff. So it is quite usable. The only button that differentiates this steering wheel from the Porsche 911. When I press that battery button, it'll regen more and bite a little bit. It will default in normal setting to coasting when you come off the throttle rather than regen. Their rationale for it is because they're a performance car manufacturer. They think people still want to use a brake pedal, so they haven't gone for a one pedal feel, even with that on. So what Porsche have said is 90% of your normal driving you will regen. You can recuperate up to 265 kilowatts through everyday driving. Right, I've got cruise control set at 120. I've got lane keep assist on, so you can feel it's ever so slightly reminding you of things. This car has steel brakes which have been specially coated because you're not going to use the brakes that much. They're not going to degrade that much, and I think it will stop them from rusting. Because as you know with these cars, the regen is so good, your actual friction braking happens much less frequently.
Please repeat the entry.
What is my state of charge?
You still have 78% battery charge and the range of 310 kilometers.
That is the first time that a voice control has ever informed me of some decent information. I'm going to go and charge while I have my lunch. Makes sense, right? Time to charge, time to have lunch. In theory, this car will charge up to 275 kilowatts at the moment. That charger can charge up to 350, as most of you fully charged viewers will know. I have a charging flap on both sides of the car. This side, which is left-hand driver's side, is AC only. That side is AC and DC. If the flap isn't open already, I can open it using my hand. There's a button on the haptic screen that I just told you about. If I do that, it opens. I'm now going to use an Ionity rapid charger for the first time. I haven't actually used one yet. 1, put the car on charge. It's like a song by Dua Lipa. Okay, whoa, chunky cable, look at the girth on that. So this can do 350 kilowatts. That is what Ionity is saying. The car, the Taycan, currently can do a maximum of 275 kilowatts. It's still massive, but in the future it can probably do more. As you can see, because we're on the launch of a car, on the international launch, there's more than one Taycan. So I don't feel as special as I would in the real world, but there's one there, with the non-carbon kind of fan wheels. It does look good in white. It does look good. Another white one there, look. So as predicted, 42% of the battery. The car started with 299 kilometers of range, which is not fully charged. It wasn't fully charged this morning. We are seeing the kilowatt hours ramping up. Okay, so 46% charge, 148 kilowatts is the speed at which we're charging it, 761 volts, 196 amps. I believe that because the car is nearly half charged, it won't push for 200 odd kilowatts because it doesn't need to. You'll get that if I was to roll in with like 10% charge, it'll really smash in the kilowatts up to 80%, that's the sweet spot for rapid charging. But I've got two things I want to show you. One, in Sweden they eat plop. Discuss. Two, more importantly, this is the Taycan press launch material, and I do like a good old piece of printed material. Charging time for DC at 50 kilowatts for up to 100 kilometers of range, 28 minutes on this car. Charging time for DC at 270 kilowatts, 5 minutes. It's quite impressive, isn't it? Charging time for DC at 50 kilowatts from 5 up to 80%, 93 minutes. Charging time for DC at 270 kilowatts, 22.5 minutes. That's go in there, get a coffee, have a poo, eat some plop, make a phone call, email somebody, get back in the car, go. 0 to 5% to 80%. It's quite impressive, that. And now I'm going to go and do the things I've just talked about. Not sharing that plot with anybody. Okay, well, we're supposed to just have a quick coffee stop, but ended up having early lunch. And according to this, the car is 97% charged, 391 kilometers in the tank, out of a potential 450 kilometers, depending on temperature, blah, blah. So it's, 97%. It's near as damn it full. So let's go and do some kilometers. It's so smooth. The suspension and the ride, it's lovely. The steering feels familiar. It feels very Porsche in terms of the steering, and it feels very Porsche in terms of the seating position, and it feels engaging when I sit nice and low in this cockpit, and the footwells are deep. The body control's very, very good. The ability to corner and stay flat and stay planted and really respond is important when you're driving a Porsche. That's kind of what they're about. Driving mode normal, electric sports, and let's put the electric sports sound on. Like the Jag I-Pace, it does have this sort of futuristic sound to it. Now it doesn't have a conventional gearbox as such, the Taycan, it's direct drive, but at the back, inside the back axle in the differential, it has a limited slip diff for sort of performance grip, but it also has this little 2-speed gearbox. It's more of an overdrive system. A lot of older cars had overdrive so that you could get that higher final gear, lower revving, and the reason why the Taycan has it is to achieve the launch control that it has. So it can launch really, really quickly and go, and then in order to get high motorway speeds, 161 miles an hour top speed of the Taycan, it uses that second gear. So in normal driving circumstances, when you're not launch controlling it and smashing it through, it doesn't use first gear, it just uses second gear. In the original Taycan video, we showed the repeatability of its full throttle launch control performance. So you're trying to think of how they managed to do that. How did Porsche manage to not burn out its components and let you do that as many times as you want with a warranted car? Well, I can't show you them because they're buried, but the two electric motors, one at the front axle, one at the back axle, one of the designs that Porsche have come up with is these hairpin shaped stators, really thick copper stators instead of traditional windings that look like, well, yeah, kind of lowercase n stators. And what they allow you to do is they allow the motors to take more punishment without any degradation, without excessive heat. And that is one of the reasons why this car can do all that repeatable full throttle performance. Now this car, the Turbo and the Turbo S, are the only two going on sale initially. But there is going to be a four-wheel drive, lower ranking car that comes out this year, 2019. And next year, I'm going to say it's next year, but I don't know for sure. I reckon that's when they'll bring out a single motor, a rear-wheel drive, single motor, even cheaper car. So the lower ranking car will be cheaper than this, obviously. This is £115,000. So it'll be sub 100 grand. And then the rear-wheel drive, single motor car, I don't know. But when you look at it spec for spec with something like a Panamera, it's kind of the same price as the petrol equivalent, actually. Camera on the back, as I said before, this is not a hatchback like the Porsche Panamera, it's a saloon. So you've got a small aperture or smaller aperture, but we're keeping it real here on Fully Charged. We've got all the stuff that we've used on this shoot, on the road trip. So we've got all the camera gear and actually our coats and camera bag, Pelly case. Look at this case, it's just tucked in under the back window there because it goes in right under that back window. So although it's quite a shallow aperture, it's big enough for some decent cases because it goes all the way back into there. In fact, it goes back this far. I don't know how I'm gonna it goes back that far to here. So pretty good, it goes right under the back window. You can fit a couple of cases in here. So it's more impressive than I originally thought. 366 litres at the back, 81 litres at the front. These are actually quite deep wells, so if you've got bottles of wine, like say, or takeaway curries that you don't want slapping around, they could go in there. There is a false floor, it's absolutely tiny. I don't really know what you'd put in there. A ciabatta, very shallow ciabatta sandwich, I don't really know, but the point is, it is there. I better put all this stuff back in. Back end, lovely thin band with the Porsche name sort of inscripted into what looks like kind of acrylic plastic. And then a red bar LED light that goes all the way around, and then it's kind of sculpted in, it's cut into there. Right, into the back of the Taycan. This is a 4,963mm long car. 2,900mm wheelbase. This is the bit that people have been sort of criticising who may not have properly seen the car. As usual, I have just got out of the driver's seat set for me. I'm 6'3", I don't know what that is in new money. Here's the solid seat. There's actually quite a lot of room because the footwells are deep. So you have got a transmission tunnel here. You've got this touch screen with your climate control, heated back seats, that kind of stuff. So this is haptic like the one up there. Of course you've got the armrest which you can bring down with your cup holders and stuff. But these one-piece chairs are similar to the 911, could even be the same chairs as the 911. They cut in for the one-piece headrests enough for me to see either side of them. I can see over the dash. I don't feel like I'm sat too low, because these are cut nicely in where the headrest is. Sometimes these are too bulky and you get a bit claustrophobic, especially with a dark coloured roof. It's probably going to be even better with a panoramic glass roof, but actually this is very comfortable and a decent amount of legroom. I've also noticed, which I didn't notice before, is look at the adjustable headrests on the driver's seats. They come right out like that, which I like, so that your neck is supported. I feel like I've got lots of shoulder space, lots of armrests. It's really comfortable, actually, considering it's a sports car. It's still classed as a sports car. Efficiency then, well, according to my little trip, 21.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's what I've done today, and that's about 8 hours so far of nearly 300 kilometers of combined driving, back roads, motorways, bit of hard acceleration here and there, and of course the regen braking that goes with it. And it's not coat weather, but it's thick jumper weather. It's very scientific. Now the party's over, I'm so tired. Little bit of Alcantara. See, if you don't option it with the panoramic roof, which this one doesn't have, You can see the metal roof has these really sharp corrugated creases in the middle that mimic the ones on the bonnet, and I do think that looks very good. Although a panoramic roof is lovely when you're in it, it looks better with the metal on the other side. You can't have it both ways, I suppose. Bit of a shame. Well, we've got to the Ionity charges just before we cross over into Denmark. There we go. We've got about 20%. I think we've got about 20%. Yeah, come on, let's ramp those kilowatts up. Watch the dial. Are we gonna go 200 or more? It's like a wheel of fortune. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, 189. It just did a little bit. I think we're gonna see over 200. Come on. Smash those kilowatts in. DC, come on, DC. I don't mean David Coulthard. 192. As soon as we drove in, what was good about these Ionity chargers is you could see that they had a green halo on the top. Those ones there are all clear. So immediately, like a beacon in the night. This is what we want to see, you know. If you own a Tesla, one of the big advantages of owning a Tesla is getting the supercharger network accessible. And it's brilliant. You cannot fault it. They're plentiful. They're easy to decipher. But if you don't have a Tesla and you don't want a Tesla, this is the kind of thing that we want. We want banks of these. We want easily visible, accessible, 250, 350 kilowatt rapid chargers. This is what the UK and other countries want. We want dozens of these. Ionity are promising it, so let's hope it does come, especially if you do buy a car with such rapid charge capability. This is what I want. It's not bad, is it? I'm blooming freezing. My nipples are like industrial diamonds. I'm gonna go and sit in here and listen to Benny and the Jets. We've actually put a lot more in than we needed to. We've been here longer than we needed to. I've been reading the brochure. You know, the Turbo S will do the quarter mile in 10.8 seconds. That's pretty good for a car that weighs 2.3 tons. But anyway, we've been here for 21 minutes. We could have been here for probably 5-10 minutes, less than that. But anyway, we've put in 46.3 kilowatt hours. It's gone down now to 106 kilowatts, so I'm going to knock it off. 21 minutes, 75% charge. It's pretty good though, right? Finished. Please return the plug. I love these chargers. They're brilliant. Heating. I've got it all on. I'm thinking ahead. Because, you know, the thing about Porsches, yes, they're a sports car brand, and they always have been. But they've also been a sports car brand where you can get in them and drive them every day. And that's something which always set them aside, I think, from Ferrari and Lamborghini and those other kind of high-end brand was a Porsche you can just get in, rain or shine, winter, summer, and just drive it. And it's built to cope with it. Now the build quality of this car is familiarly brilliant. I mean, it's so nicely put together. We are definitely in the home of Volvo. Well, I'm going really slowly behind this car. Here's what I think about the dash. It's really, really pleasantly presented. It's quite a flat dash top. I love this binnacle. There's not many physical buttons, that being one of them. I would like a little bit more information about the electric side of things. The screens can get a bit fussy here and there, but if you wanted the theatre, I suppose, of like the Tesla with its just a simple portrait monitor and like naff all else, it's not that radical. It conforms to tradition a bit more. You've got your chrono up there, which is a bit of a Porsche trademark, but I really enjoy it in here. I'm looking forward to Porsche bringing out a GTS version or an RS version with less weight, less luxury, bit more driver focus. Maybe not that you could make it more driver focus, because I don't know how. Oh look, there's a Tesla Model 3. People compare this to the hot Model S and even the hot Model 3 and say this car seems very expensive by comparison. Well, number one, some people really value the Porsche brand and Porsche badge. Badges sell cars. So there's that to bear in mind. And it is a premium brand, it's a sports car brand. And 2, can a Model S, a top spec Model S, and we're not talking about the Plaid 3 motor job that's been tested around the Nürburgring, because that car's actually not on sale yet. Can you actually get a Tesla that will do all of this? And will do it more than once or twice or more than 3 times? Because I honestly, right now, I know that a Model S can't go around corners like this. And I know a Model S can't stop like this. Model S brakes are nowhere near the turbo, these coated metal discs, or the carbon ceramic brakes of the Turbo S. There's too many S's. I think the Tesla is offering excellent value for money. The Model 3 offers really good performance, but it's a smaller, different segment of car. So if let's talking like for like, this is Model S sized really. It's a heavy car. It's 2.3 tons. This thing. But what I've driven in so far, it really doesn't feel heavy in terms of its handling, in terms of its ride, and in terms of its braking capability. It's hiding that 2.3 tons really, really well. But I don't want to compare everything to a Tesla, because I think that just starts to become odd. And also, Tesla people just want to buy Teslas, and I totally understand that. There's a lot to love. So to summarise then, the Taycan is a very, very decent all-round car. It's fun to drive, it feels luxurious, and it feels smooth, and it feels comfortable. It's rapid, it eats corners, and it eats miles. Would I rather have one than a high-spec Model S Tesla? I would. Thank you very much for watching Fully Charged. If you haven't already subscribed and pressed that bell, do it now and you'll be alerted to every new video. We do at least 1 video a week. Patreons, if you're a Patreon subscriber, thank you so much for pledging an amount of money per month. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head to Patreon and see if you fancy it yourself. We couldn't do it. We couldn't make this stuff without you guys. And as usual, thank you ever so much for watching.